Okay, I can start the workshop. Okay, guys. The workshop is starting. Workshop is starting.
Please close your games, your
Yeah.
whatever that's not relevant. Thank you.
So, okay, wait. I'm gonna start off. Uh, I am sorry if I'm not like too familiar with the slides. I'm uh, I'm like an emergency replacement. I'm not Reason, who is supposed to be covering this workshop. But as you can see, there isn't much to cover in this workshop in terms of content, partially because Tailwind is supposed to be a supporting framework in your development process. It's supposed to increase your productivity. So it's a type of CSS framework which provides you with the tools necessary to to personalize your website, make it look much better. So I'm sure you guys have went through the classical, the classic CSS styling already in the HTML CSS workshop, and you guys have seen how tedious it may be to like add CSS to all your elements in your website. So that's why we have CSS frameworks, which provides you tools to add in CSS really quickly. So in the previous slide, there is Bootstrap and Tailwind. So why do we choose Tailwind over Bootstrap? Well, in my opinion, Tailwind tends to be more personalized. You are able to personalize your website much better compared to Bootstrap's preset components. So this allows you to give your website a unique look and overall have it look better to than compared to a generic Bootstrap website. So this is a very important site to refer to throughout this entire workshop because I won't be covering everything, and there might be some tasks that require certain Tailwind classes that I have not covered. So in that case, you can refer to this docs website and or in general just Google how to add something in Tailwind, and it should provide you the tools that you need in order to add it to your website. So here's just a really quick video by Fireship going through the importance of Tailwind and what it is. Uh, okay. Is it fine if I just skip through this video? Okay. I won't cover this video. It's in the slides that is provided to you, so you can watch it on your own free time. So if you want an easy setup, you don't want to set it up in your VS Code editor, you can always go to this website. It has everything set up for you already. So you can just go to your exercise, go to your HTML file, copy everything into Tailwind Play, and then it should appear for you. So let me do that real quick. Website time. So right now I'm just downloading the file. Give me a second. Okay. So this is the exercise HTML that you've been provided in your exercise folder. Is everyone able to paste this in to reach this like point? If you're using play.tailwind.css, I'll give you all a while to sort of set this up. You can raise your hand to get a facil to help you if needed. Alternatively, if you want to set this up in your VS Code editor, you can copy and paste this one-liner into your header of your HTML. Otherwise, you can also refer to the website in the sites, which will give you multiple options of setting up Tailwind CSS. However, most of them are not covered in the scope of the workshop. So sadly, this way of implementing Tailwind will not give you the suggestions that will help in your development workflow. But in your free time after this workshop, you can explore the other ways of implementing Tailwind into your code editor, which will give you suggestions that are really useful in your development process. So can I check that everyone has set up Tailwind in their code editor or reached the play.tailwind site? If anyone hasn't set up, can they raise their hand? Sure. Yeah, that works.
Some are not going to be able to create files and stuff. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if
Yeah, that's
this
fine.
is
Hopefully. Okay. The people, what are y'all? Okay? Sure. Now I'll be moving on. Okay, in the meantime, I will be covering the basics of Tailwind. So this is an example comparison between your inline CSS and Tailwind CSS. So you can see that they are quite similar, except Tailwind CSS actually uses the class function itself, inline styling. So Tailwind CSS consists of utility classes, which help you to stylize your text in a more descriptive manner. So you can see here how compared to inline CSS, which is style equals color :red, you instead of text red 600. So text is what you're editing, and red 600 is how you're editing. So this is the structure of a CSS function. You have your selector, which is what you're editing. Then you have your descriptor, which is how you're editing. So your selector can be the margin of the element you're editing, the background, the roundedness of the border, and the descriptor can be the color, the size, the position, etc. So here is Tailwind's color system. So it follows the convention of color value. So values range from 100 to 900, as well as 50 and 950. So what this value does is it actually makes your color darker or lighter, right? So the higher the value, the darker your color. So here's an example of the different types of colors. So I have the same base color, which is green. And you can see how the value of 50 makes it essentially white, but the value of 900 makes it really dark. And 500 is your in-between. Everyone following? Okay, so here's how you edit the sizes of your elements in Tailwind. So you have different descriptors for sizes. So you have extra small, small, base, which is medium, large, XL, and 2XL to 9XL to fit all your use cases. So here's an example of the different sizes. So you have text extra small. You can barely see it compared to text 8XL, which takes up basically the entire window. So here is how you change the directions of your text, like where is it positioned within your element. So it's rather self-explanatory. You have left, center, right, and justified. So here's the visual example. So you have text left, everything is aligned to the left. And text center, where you align stuff in the center, and text right, where you align everything to the right. It's similar to your Google Docs or your Word document alignment. Yeah. And then you have 3 types of fonts that are preloaded into Tailwind CSS. If you want to upload your own custom font, you can Google how to and use the Tailwind docs to help your process. So you have sans, serif, and mono. So here is what they look like. So you have sans, which is on the left, serif on the center, and mono on the right. So you just insert the utility class font and then the family that you want in order to include it in your text. So here is where I start to get into the demo side of this workshop. So when you first input the HTML into your code editor, you won't have this line inside. You'll have it commented out. And what you will get is this formatting. This is the default formatting that HTML sets for classes such as your header, your paragraph, and your lists. But what if you turn on Tailwind? So in order to turn on Tailwind, you have to remove the comment out portion of this one-liner inside your code. So if we compare the having Tailwind on and off, you'll realize that the formatting for your header and your paragraphs and your list, they all are the same. So you actually have to customize a lot of things from the ground up when you use Tailwind CSS, which is kind of annoying, but it's part of the Tailwind's advantage of giving you the ability to stylize your elements as you wish. So I'm going to start the first exercise, and I'll be calling out people to sort of give me what they think is a solution to these exercises. Okay, but for the first one, I'll show you how I will approach this. So when I compare what I have compared to what I want, I realize that I want to add circles to the list elements, right? So first thing I will do is I would go into Google and search up how can I input this how can I input something before my list elements. So I would check out Tailwind list items, and then it should give me the document, the docs, right? And it will list down the different items I can use. So I have, wait, can you all see the things on the side? Is it large enough? Is it large enough? Okay. So it will tell me the different classes that I can use. So I have list disk, list decimal, list none. So in this case, I want disks, right? I want circles. So I will input circles, list disks into my Tailwind Play segment. So I will come here, find my list element, and I will insert this. Okay, but why doesn't it appear yet? So I'll scroll down, look at the examples, and see how I will implement this. So actually, I may be missing a certain class. Okay. Which is list inside, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Okay. So I was check out for your reference. Okay. So for Tailwind, when I'm stylizing my list items, I not only have to specify the type of element I put in front of my list items, but also where I will put it. So in this case, I will refer to the list style position element. So for this example, I will use list inside. So this is a part that I added inside, which is list inside and list this. And this gets me the result that I want, which is having the bullet points in front of my list elements. Has everyone gotten to this point? Is everyone able to sort of edit the HTML to have this and follow through? Okay, I'll take that as a yes, yeah? So how can I change the background color of my site? Do I have any volunteers to answer the exercise? You there? Can you answer? Can you give me an answer? Are you sure? I want to change the background. So where's my selector? Background, yes. So what color is this? Can you tell? It's red. It's red, but looks like white, right? So what does this tell you about my value? Very low, right? Okay. So this is how I will implement it. BG red 100. So this will give me a very light red for the background of my entire site. So I will go here back to the HTML code and just insert BG red 100 into the body. So it affects the entire website. Yes. Okay, and it should turn red. If I want a stronger value of red, I'll just increase the value in the red selector. So maybe 100. If this will update. Updating. Okay. Unfortunately, it seems like it's not working. Okay, this one. Let me continue to change the text sizes. So I want my headers to be larger than the text that it contains, right? So how do I increase the sizes of the text? I just covered this. Can I get a volunteer? Or like someone to just shout out what I would input in. All right. You have a suggestion? Yes? Can you give me the class that I would like write in here to increase the sizes of my headers? Text, yeah. So what's the size that I want? 6 doesn't work. We need like a size descriptor. Large, small, extra large? Extra large? Okay. XL, yes. So this is how I would implement it. So hopefully you'll update this time. In Excel. Hopefully you'll update. Yeah. And you'll see that number one, Santa fan club increases in size. I will do so for the second header as well. Everyone able to follow, yes? Okay. Are you able to follow? Yes? Okay. So the next exercise is how I will underline the words very rich only. So in your HTML CSS workshop, they may have covered wrappers, custom wrappers such as you, in order to underline certain pieces of text. But since we are covering we are in a Tailwind CSS workshop, I want you guys to try doing this in purely just Tailwind. So here's a hint for you guys. You need to use the span wrapper, then use Tailwind in order to underline the words. So I'll give you all a second to try out yourselves. Then after that, I'll ask someone to give me the answer. Yeah. So I'll just give you all a minute to just try out yourselves. If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand and a pursuer will come to you. Yes? Yeah? Oh. Hmm? Huh?
Just
Oh, okay.
let's put there if you want to them up a bit.
It's okay. Okay, can I get a volunteer to tell me like what ideas you have in order to... Yes? how I underline only very rich here. Right, very good. Congrats. Okay, wait. So I didn't cover underline. You will have to refer to the Tailwind docs, to figure out this class, I guess. But that is very good. So the next section I will be going through is under margin border padding. Have you all gone through this in your HTML CSS workshop? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no, yeah? Okay, so here is how I will input. I would have a border on my element. So I will use the class border 30 to indicate the thickness of my border. So since I want a really, really thick border, I have it be border 30, which is 30 pixels thick. Yeah. Then I want it to be black. So I just have it as border black. So here are other references for the sizes of the borders and other classes you can stick on your border, right? But what if I only want to set the left and right border to be green? So I will actually add this extra class here, border X green, because I want to set the left and right. That's on the X axis. So logically, I will use X. If I want to set the top and bottom, I could use Y because it's your vertical axis. So here's what it would look like, right? If you just follow through with it. So now what if I only want to set the border of the bottom to be green? Then I can use V, which is bottom. Alternatively, if I want to set the left, I can use L. Right, I can use R. And top, I can use T. So here's what it would look like. So next, I will be moving on to margin. So margin is spacing outside of your border. So you can see how from here, it shifts over to here when I add in a margin of 10 pixels. So your other descriptors, X, Y, LRTB, all apply here. So if I want only a margin on the left and right, I will use MX. If I only want a margin on the top, I will use MT, right? Next, I will use padding. So padding is spacing inside your border. So inside your element. So you can see here, I added 20 pixels of padding to the left and right of my element. So now the border margin padding text is shifted slightly away from the edge. So how do I change the width of my element? So you may have noticed that just now, if you just add in a paragraph class and you added some text in, then uh, added in your border and your border color, it may not have filled out the entire thing, or it may have just taken up the entire screen. But what if I want to customize how wide it is? Then I will just use the W selector and then add in the value which denotes the width that I want to set it to. So an important thing to note, right, is that the number there doesn't actually represent pixels, but 4 times it. Don't ask me why. I wasn't the one that came up with this. So if I want it to fit to my element, I just use W fit. Quite logical, right? So if I want to change the height of my element, I use H. It has all the same parameters as width. So yeah, I can change the height of my box this way. So here's a simple summary of what I've just covered. It's just your margin border padding, your width, and your height. This is how you change it. And here are the direction selectors that go with the classes here. Oh, and I don't know why this slide is repeated. It's okay. So here's a fifth exercise. How do I add a margin to the first header and the last list item? So you may have noticed that there's a spacing above and below the header one. So what does it tell you? What does it tell you about the margin that I want to add to header one? What selector should I use for it? Can I get someone to answer me? You there in the center. How do I, what does it tell me if I want just the margin to be on the top and bottom? What selector do I use for my margin? Sorry, can you say that louder? It's on your top and bottom. It's on your vertical axis. So you use the selector Y. Yeah? Okay. Next, there is the last item, the last list item. I want the margin only on the bottom. So what selector will I use for that? Can anyone answer me? Anyone has any ideas? You? Yeah. If I want to add margin just to the bottom of the element, what selector do I use? Yeah, correct. You just use MV. So here I will add 4 pixels of margin to the top and bottom of number 1 center pen club. And I will add a 4 pixel margin below. He is very rich. Wow. So next I want to add a thick green border to number 1 center pen club. So how do I add in this border? So you realize that I have to add in the color, the thickness. Yeah, the color and the thickness. So what selectors do I use for this? I'll give you all a second to try this out in your Tailwind file. In your HTML file, sorry. What? Okay. Yeah. So is anyone able to sound out what they did for this exercise? Any volunteers? All right. Can I have you in the front? So, sorry, can I have you in the front? Tell me how do I add in this green border into the file? So I want it to be green, I want it to be thick. How do I add in this border into the file using just Tailwind classes?
The answer to this question. If you know the answer, I'll give you the hello and then the front. Sorry, the second front.
No one? Okay. For now, I'll just move on. So I will just add in border green 700 because it is a rather dark green. So I want a high value inside and I want it to be thick. So I'll add in border 8 to have a thickness of around 8 pixels. So next, I want to format the email class, right? Next, I want to add in formatting for the email part of the into the email input box. So what I want to do is add in a white background. And I want email to be slightly, the email text within the input box to be slightly out, to be slightly padded. So what Tailwind classes do I use in order to achieve this look? Can someone just give me the selector names? Huh? Yeah, I will use padding. And for the background, what will I use? Can someone tell me what I will use to turn the background white? Yep, BG white. So I will add left and right padding into the input box and just set the background to be white, which is the entire element by default. Okay, here is a small challenge for y'all. I'll give you all a while to try set up this button, try to style it, so that when I hover over it, I have it turn darker, or and maybe have my cursor change its look. So I haven't covered this yet. I'll give you all a while to sort of Google how to style this in, and maybe I'll go through my thought process in how I would format this myself. So here's a hint for you. I would use hover, padding, and rounded classes, right? Is everyone okay and following? Everything okay. Yeah. Okay. I wish I don't have a while more. So is everyone able to sort of implement this button styling for the HTML file? Is anyone lost or need any help? Okay, in my case, when I look at this, I notice that, okay, when I hover, I want the background to turn darker. I look at the button, it has a bit of a rounded border. So I would definitely use hover and rounded in my styling. I want the sign up to be not by the edges of the button itself, so I'll use padding. And this is how I would implement it. So hover is sort of a special keyword that causes it to only style in that sense once you hover over the element. So I will come over here, come in, right, CG green, 500, on the large. Yeah, I will be updating here. Does Fade or Tailwind not update like automatically? I saw the button already. Sure. Or is yes. Okay. You sure? Yeah. Right. And you see how when I hover over sign up, it turns darker, right? Is everyone able to like follow through with this and have this on their own files? Can I just get an indicator? Like so just someone to shout yes or no. Are you able to follow? Okay, nice. You are following. Okay, I trust you, yeah? So there's some extra stuff that wasn't able to be categorized into the earlier segments, such as some of the cool things you can do with Tailwind. You can center an item, add animations, shadow effects, filters to your images, and change the shape of a cursor when you hover over certain elements or do certain actions. So if I want to center a div, right, every web designer's worst nightmare, I would just add in the Tailwind classes item center and justify center. So what do item center and justify center do? So item center helps me to align the items horizontally to the center of the element, and justify center vertically centers them. So some things that you have to do in order to have your element be centered, let's say to the center of your screen, is that you need to set the height of the parent element to the screen itself. So in this case, it's done through adding page screen here, which sets your element's height to that of your screen. And I'll make it a flex box in order to have item center and justify center work. So let's say I add in an additional element here, like a button. And then I'll style it so that it has the width of the entire screen and it has the height of an entire screen. Next, I will make it a flex box, right? And I will justify it so that it's vertically centered. So justify center. So an important thing about this center bit is that it's in American spelling. So it's TER instead of TRE. So in case your justify center or your text center doesn't work, you can try to check your spelling. Make sure it's right. Otherwise, you won't accept it. Then next, I will want it to align it to the center vertically. So I will use item center. And this should work. And then you see how it's centered on the page now. Yeah. Are you guys able to follow? Okay. So you can always use this method to center anything inside a div horizontally and vertically. You just have to make sure that the height of the div element itself is to what you want. Otherwise, it will only center it horizontally. So let's say I remove this H screen and see what happens. It pops right back up, and it's not to the center of the screen that as I want it to. So you can do stuff like add animations. So you can have it pulsate, you can have it spin, ping, or bounce. I'll let you all explore this on your own time to include it into your website if you want. So here's an example. You can have it bounce. You can add in shadows to certain elements of your site. So you can add in a box shadow like this. You can add shadows to your text. So here you can see there's a slight shadow on your click me here. Next up, you can also change your cursor when you do certain actions. So you can have it be turned into a pointer. You can have it turn into a question mark with cursor help. You can have it disappear with cursor none. So here's an example. And you can add filter effects for your images. So here I have a normal image of our recruitment poster. And these are the different types of filters I can add in. So I can make it blurry. I can invert the colors. So here's an example of the blur effect. Here's what it looks like if I invert the colors. So here's your final test is the assignment in the resources folder, sorry. Yep. So I want you to turn this formatting, this your default HTML, into something that looks like this. So for this, Miak will take over.
Okay. Let me just connect the. Yep. It's not USB here. Okay. Just do that connector, I guess. Can you give me the.
This is for the camera room. It's fine.
Here got HTML.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see if you're able to share on that. So this is how I will approach the task. So I will try to break down the differences between this and this into several segments. So firstly, I want to obviously center the input box. Then I want to think about how I would lay out the input box. So I see I have a header, and then I have the input forms and the submit button. So how will I align that? I would use multiple divs. I will use a flex box to align it to the center of the input box itself. Then how I input the colors? How I change the colors? I will have a green button, a gradient background. Okay. Then I will stop sharing here.
Yeah.
Okay. I will remove that for now. Let's see if you are able to share on yours.
If that works.
Let's see. I don't know if you just missed it.
Sure. Let me just double check.
Let's use this.
Yeah. Okay. You guys are able to see my screen. Let me just modify some things on my side. Okay, so in the meantime, all right, what I want you all to try is, as mentioned by Irina.
Are you sharing?
Oh yeah, wait. Let me head on to
You try sharing on your Google Meet first.
share
And talk through your. Yeah, sharing. Eh? Not yet.
share screen. Share screen. Share.
It's not sharing on Google Meet.
Let me just try this out.
Okay, it's sharing now, yeah.
Yeah.
Eh.
Okay. So
Yeah, sure.
you should be able to see my screen for the online people. So as mentioned by Rina, okay, what we want you guys to try is to go from this typical standard HTML thing, okay, and to this very magical and beautiful colorful Santa's list, okay. So as mentioned by Rina, okay, there are a few different approaches. So I think one way y'all can think of it is like lasagna, because there's like a lot of layers, right? And there's a lot of ingredients. So ingredients are, for example, the colors of your heading, you know, and layers will be like your background and your centered form. So now we need to find a way to split up these parts, okay, and give the correct classes. So I would like you all to give it a try first, okay? And in about a few minutes, I will go through the solution lah, basically. Yeah.
Just try it.
So currently now, if you guys need any help or if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, okay? I'll come over and answer. So once again, we want it to look like this. So there's a centered form, okay? And there's a gradient background from green to red. And Santa's list that is big and bold and beautifully in a green color. Okay. And submit to database, a green button lah. So yeah, please give it a try. Okay. And I'll give you all the solution in a few minutes time. Is there a repository?
It's in Discord. Oh, let me see. No, it's just to here.
This is your account, right? This is your account.
Yeah.
Okay. This is
Someone set up? Oh, no, actually.
So how you guys doing? Are you guys like done or not done? How much time do you guys? Yeah, I give you like what? 10 more minutes lah.
10 more. Sure.
Yeah, I think that should be. Workshop ends in what, 6?
6. Yeah, 6. Hmm.
Is it?
It's okay, I guess. One dimensional motion.
Can I go to your Google Meet?
Yep.
Yes. I'll just unmute from my side. Then you mute from your side.
Hey.
Okay. You didn't go through that size thing, like
I did.
oh, SM equal, and then MD equal, like the breakpoints. Like maybe flex is enabled at the MD size or something. Yeah, go through the points.
It was inside.
Okay.
Can I check on everyone's progress on this? Is that does anyone like really need help? Or can you all are you all like say halfway through stylizing your input form into something like this? Nearly, okay. What about everyone else? Everyone else? Huh? The fonts?
The font is just bold font.
This should be sans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what about this side? How's your progress on this side? Can I get on to like sort of estimate your progress over here?
So in about 4 more minutes, I will go through the answer with you all. Okay. I'll go through each class and how it affects the entire so-called entire HTML page lah. Yeah. I think I'll go through like 2 minutes earlier, like maybe 1 or 2. Sure. Are y'all ready for me to go through now? Or y'all want more time? Yeah, I'll go through in like 60 seconds lah. I'll count down for you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I'm speaking too fast, counting too fast. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I'm gonna go through now how we can get this specific style, all right? So, okay, I'll move away from this page. Is that okay from you? This is sort of what I have right now with me. Is the I'm pretty sure you guys have the same thing also, you know. Santa's list is all like very boring lah. Okay. So what is the first thing that we want to do? Okay. First thing that we want to do is let's try to get the layout to be similar to what we have here. So now what we can see, right? Let me zoom in. Now what we can see is that there is Santa's list, and then we got name, present, on the same row, behavior, naughty and nice, and submit to the database. But you compare it to here, what do we have? We have name, and then the input is on a different row, present on a different row, and yeah, this part is mostly the same lah. So how do we get it to be on a different row? Does anyone know how to achieve this in Tailwind CSS? Okay. You want me to call out like someone random? Okay. Let's see who's a good person.
There you go.
Sure. Yeah, him. Okay. You, yes. So how can I have my name and then the input on a different row, and then the present on a different row, and present on a different row? Because now it's all on the same row. You compare it to here, it's on different rows. How can we achieve a very beautiful many rows thing? You want a clue? You got 3 clues, okay? You want to use a clue? Okay. The first class starts with F and ends with X. Okay, flex. Okay, but I think still looks a bit funny. I'm not too sure what happened. But something's not right, man. Okay. I give you one more clue. It's flex also, but then got something after it. Okay. You realize now it is all in a row, but what do we want it to be? You know, this is row. Then like, what's the opposite of a row? Okay, so how do we type that in as a class? Yeah, I give you a chance, okay? Flex call. So now, wow, this is so beautiful. We have a name and a present and all this. But I think it still looks kind of wrong. Like, shouldn't be looking like this, okay? So let's take a look at what's next. What you realize is that the Santa's list is aligned in the middle of your page. Okay. So how do we make a Santa's list align to the middle? So we will just put justify center. Okay. And if it does not work, what we can do is we can just make it with full. So, okay, well, it's still not working. Let me just cheat a bit. Okay, never mind. I'm just joking lah. So now the thing is, right? Why does this not work? Okay, even if you put items center, okay, still does not work. The reason being why, right, is because all of these, they don't have any class yet. You can sort of where's my inspect element? Hold on. Let me show you all how you can see lah, how you all can debug this kind of thing. Okay. Then now we can inspect element. Okay, so we can target this to inspect. Now you realize that the width is full, but it's still not centered. Okay. Pretty sure is because what you can do is this is actually for your items. So what are items? Let me take a look. Let me show you the Tailwind docs. Okay. So go inside the documentation here. And then you can search for, oh, sorry, this is the old version. See, yeah, okay. So now when we take a look at this, right, do you realize something? So your items, okay, when you use items center, it is in a group of items. So here you have all these items, and item center is the applied to the parent of your div. So will it work for this? No, not at all. So what you can do is, okay, text, what is it? Is it a line? Text center, yes. So now that is done, and we can also remove this. It's not needed anymore. So now that we have our centers list, center, something is still wrong lah. I'm not too sure what it is lah, but I'm pretty sure it's because right, the spacing is a bit off. Like if you're dyslexic, you're gonna start seeing some other stuff instead lah. So you can see here it's very spaced out, very nice. Okay, so what do we have to do to achieve this sort of spaced out effect? So one way you can do is, okay, one way you can do is you can group your divs. So I'm gonna cut this, gonna put it in a div, okay, and then put another div, and I'm gonna paste this inside. Now, you realize we come up with the same issue again. No worries. Let me just show you all what is the quick fix. Just apply again lah. Flex, call. So now we have this. Okay, let's do the same for this also. So cut, and now we add another div on it. So we add another div parent. Okay, plus flex column. Okay, so now that we are done with this, okay, again, I'm dyslexic. I cannot see very well. I'm gonna start putting things in the wrong places. Like name, I'm gonna start putting in like present or something. So what we can actually do is we can do a gap. So gap 4. And this will actually give you a very, very nice gap between your grouped divs. So now it is nice. I can actually submit and read it properly. Okay, and yeah, but still, you see, this is very fancy. I got the background. So how do we achieve this? First off, we have this div class here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna apply our background. So BG, let's test it out first. BG black. Okay, seems to work. But you realize that it's only applying to half of the page. Why is this so? It is because you need to apply with screen. Okay, with screen will make your black color. Okay, again BG black. Your black min with screen. Oh yeah, sorry, hide. I think I'm starting to become dyslexic. Okay, hide screen. Okay, and now you're gonna see it is entirely black. Okay. So you need to add your hide screen, else it will just apply to the elements that exist only. So hide screen. Now let's change this to green lah. Green 100. Okay, this is nice, but it's not the fancy gradient we are looking for. So does anyone know how to add a gradient? I think I'm a bit stuck lah. Okay, how can I add a gradient to my background? Does anyone still remember? Okay.
Or did anyone Google and find the Tailwind function in order to have a gradient background?
Yes. So Google is a very good resource for that. Okay, I will give you all a clue. Okay. So you know what? Let's just take a look at the docs lah. Okay.
Just Google.
Yes, there's also Google. So Tailwind gradient. Okay, because I'm not too sure how to add a gradient. Okay, and what we can actually see here is that okay, V2, but we need to go to the latest one. Gradient. Okay. Now you see this. There are many kinds of gradient in Tailwind. So we have BG linear to R, BG linear to T, BG blah 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 65. Okay. So after that, they have this class from the color to another color. So for example, our first one here, it is this lah. From cyan 500 to blue 500. BG linear to R. What does a BG linear to R mean, man? So when you take a look actually here, BG linear to R, it actually is a short form for right. So that means it is off to your right side. And TR is top right, T is top, so on and so forth. Okay? So now what I am going to do is, I think it is time for me to apply my gradients. BG gradients. Gradients. Okay, BG gradients from to BR. So why to BR? Because if we take a look here, remember what is a BR? BR is your bottom right. And now you realize something, this is actually at the top left to your bottom right. So that means we need to using the BR lah, okay? So what is our from color? So here the keyword is to BR. So what does that mean? To, okay, let's take a look at what was the color here. It's a red, okay? To red, let's say 100 lah. So, okay, we have this here to red 100, but the top left like a bit like a blank lah. So how can we fix this? Okay, let's see. The fella there with the green color water bottle. What can I add to my class? What can I add to my class that will allow me to have a color on the top left? Yes. So green, okay, green what? If I add green, it does nothing here also lah, okay? 10,000 you what tailwind are you using? Okay. So green 100, but now you realize that here it still doesn't work. Why is this so? It is because as mentioned before, your gradient, it needs to have a from. Because if you don't have a from, then how is it going to create a gradient, right? So from green 100. So okay, now we are halfway there already. We have all of this done, but something's still not right lah. Something is still not right. Okay. Now what I want you guys, okay, I'm not too sure if you guys have done already, but we are now going to create the cut in the middle. Okay. So how do we create the cut? So first of all, let's take a look at the cut. What are some properties? It has a white background, it has a shadow, it has rounded corners. Everything is in the center and there is some margins on the left and right. Right. So, okay. Now I want it to be a background white. What do I do? BG white. Now BG white, still not there lah, you know, my margins and all are still missing. Okay. So margin, sorry, MX. Now why MX? Okay, because MX is actually your left and right, horizontal margin as they call it. So MX is left and right. So top and bottom is what? Top and bottom is actually MY. Okay. So MX, let's say 10. Okay. Now you realize something is not right. That's because margin is not the right tool. It's actually padding. So padding, okay, 20. And now we are halfway there, but not really there yet lah. What's next? So let me quickly go through this with y'all. Let's take a look. So first is gonna be definitely the fact that it is in the middle here. What I am going to do now is I'm gonna put it in a margin. Okay, margin 10. And that will put me like that. Okay, that doesn't look very right. And the reason being is because, right, when you add a margin 10, it adds it to the above. And then you realize now you have a scrolling thing. You can scroll, but now you cannot scroll when you remove the margin. Okay, so please keep that in mind. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make it as min with fit. Okay, and what does this do? This actually makes it so that, all right, if we need to give it a minimum width first lah. But the thing is we cannot because it's a flex, so never mind. Okay, let me give you guys the correct answer. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, okay, I'm gonna start. Give me a second. If class, I'm gonna give it a shadow because there was a shadow just now also lah. So shadow, does anyone know how to add a shadow to my div? Yes. Cynthia, how do I add a shadow to my div? Okay, you forgot. Now let's try. Yes, Akshara. How do I add a shadow to my div? Okay, yes, the amount of shadow I want to add. So shadow dash. Okay, I don't want to have it too much. Like, if not, it looks very funky, right? Let's do MD. What is MD? MD is medium lah, basically, and SM is small, so on and so forth. Okay. So now last thing is we need to get it to be rounded. So how do we do this? Anyone knows how to make a div rounded in a Tailwind? Okay. Does anyone want to try? Okay. Okay, I think I heard the answer already. Rounded XL. So if I put that in, yes, it is rounded. But you realize it is not the same yet. What is missing? I will tell you all. Because your width, okay, as mentioned before, we tried to fix for the width, but it didn't work. But the actual fix is that you need to specify its width manually. You cannot use width thick because it's a flex item. So what can you do? Width, okay. Now there are many options. You can have 20, for example. 20 will give you like this. 30, okay, sorry, I think it's 36. 36 makes it more expanded. Okay, so on and so forth. But what we are really looking for is we want it to make it look symmetrical. We don't want it to be the same on every single device. So when we do 3/4, what does this do? Okay, let's me make this a full screen. You realize, right? I change it to a full screen. The width is dynamically changing to become 3/4 of my screen. Okay, so I can even stretch it out like this also. 3/4. Okay. So, okay, I think that's very nice already, but again, something's not right. It is on the top left. Now, does anyone know how do I center a div? Okay. Exactly. But I will show you a mind-blowing trick that will allow you to make the div in the middle. So first, let's do a flex. Now, when we do a flex, you realize it's like this, okay? No worries. You just need to do, wait, give me a second. Flex. Now, let me just apply the other classes first. Items, center. Remember what I told you all earlier? Because this is actually in the parent, you can apply item center and it will apply to the children inside, okay? So item center, but okay, I think not there yet. So that is in the center, but it's not really in the middle. So what we will do now is we will add justify. Okay, justify center. Okay, and oh wow, we are so close, man. Okay, it's just that we are still missing a bit of pizzazz. Okay, what is next? Let's take a look. Okay, we are halfway done already. Santa's list. Something's not right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make the text bigger. Text for XL. That will give it a good size. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it a font semi-bold. Okay. You can make it font bold, font black, font Italian or whatever lah. But today we're gonna do semi-bold. All right. And once again, I'm dyslexic, so I need some padding. So our quick fix is flex call, so that it will be aligned like this, and gap 3. So now that has some nice gap, but now you realize that it's a bit too close to the edge. So you realize it doesn't look very comfortable. So P3, or maybe we can have P5 so that there's more padding around. All right. So now, okay, what are we done? What are we left with? Let's make the color of the Santa's list a dark green. So font color, font, or is it text? Text green 950. So for color, again, from 50 to 950, you're able to choose 50, 100, 200, 900, 950. Okay. Now, okay, now we're done with this. The name is a bit off. You see the input, it's like, I'm not too sure where to click lah. So what can we do? We can add a border. And I'm very familiar with borders. So coming from, okay, yeah, anyways, borders, yes. What about them? Now you realize we have a border, but it looks very, very funny lah. So let's add P1. And why P1 is because you want it to look more comfortable. But in reality, you want to do PX3 and PY2 so that it looks a bit more better. Okay, looks because you always want to have the horizontal padding slightly more than your top and bottom. So then I'll just add rounded SM. Okay, so that it's still slightly rounded. And I can also change the color. Border gray 300. Okay. So this will be it for your text. Let me just explain it again. So border adds a border to your input. Okay. So now you can customize the border with a color. So border gray 300. And additionally, you can add padding so that because if I don't add, right, it will look a bit squashed lah. It doesn't look very nice. Okay. Think about dyslexic people. PX3, PY2. So okay, dyslexic people will love your website, man. So round the SM also so that we can round the things. So let me just copy and paste this over. Okay, sorry. PX3, PY2, Control C. All right. So okay, now we have something like this now. Let's see, is there anything else that we are still missing? Okay, last is the button. What do we do now with our button? All right. So button wise now, what needs to be done is, let's take a look at our slide. Button was green. So I'm gonna go here, go into button. Let's make it a BG green. Okay. So the background is a nice, okay, you guys cannot see lah. BG green. Okay. It doesn't apply. Reason being is probably because we haven't added the thing at the back. So BG green 500. Okay. Now we have something, but still doesn't look too nice. So BG green, as seen on the picture here, it is rounded. So let's make it rounded. Rounded SM. Now, what else can we see in the picture? There's a slight padding. You realize that it's much more lesser padding here. So PY2. This will give you a padding. Okay, maybe it's too much. 1. And now, the thing is that if you have a dark color and you have a dark text, the contrast is not very good lah. Suddenly I become blind and dyslexic. I really cannot read this anymore. Okay, so what can I do? How do we change the text color? I will just show you a life hack. Text white, and now your color of the text will be white. So is there anything else left that we need to do? Okay, one nice function that you can add is a hover. So hover BG green, let's say 800. What does this do? When you hover, it just makes it darker lah. Okay, basically. And so now what we are going to do now is you can also add transition so that it is a nice animation. So you see, very, very nice already. And yeah, so I think that's mostly it for our final assignment. Okay. Any of you guys still confused about some classes or how they work to give you this appearance? Okay. If any of you are still confused, please let me know. Else, I will dismiss you guys in about 1 to 2 more minutes time once I flash out my last few slides. Okay. So all of you okay with this simple final assignment? Okay. If yes, I'll move on to your last part already. Okay. I think some of you want to go home already. So, okay, this is what we did. All right. So the suggested solution has been pushed to your previous repo. I think it should be in your Discord. There's a materials folder. Okay. So the solution is a bit different from mine, but yeah, this is it. All right. So I will appreciate it if you guys could do a feedback form. All right. So please scan the QR code, give your feedback. And yeah. Okay. Do give feedback for both Raina and me. All right. The names might be a bit different because the main presenter is
Unfortunately not here.
unfortunately not here. Yeah.
Yeah, after you guys are done, snacks.
Back then, right, when I was a kid, I was also working in a mines and my mother asked me to finish mining the entire place.
You know, like we finished at 6, and then for the next 15 minutes we started playing like loud indie music.
In the next room.
Yeah.
Crazy people.
Right. Shouldn't do we end the Google Meet as well?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let me check if there's any last slides. I think there was.
We finished at like 5:50, man, and then the remaining time was just Indian
Oh,
music.
it's just the feedback form for the other one, yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw another slide about React and whatever.
Can they leave after that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just give me 1 more minute. All right. Once you guys are done, I will just tell you one last piece of information. Okay. So are you guys done with scanning the QR code? If yes, I'll move on to the.
Just unfreeze one.
Oh, you can just unfreeze
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Okay, sure. So
Why is unfreeze? So.
let me show you all this. So Tailwind is not really meant to be used in a HTML context because I mean you guys can lah, but it is more practical to use it in, let's say, something like React or React, Vue, or some framework of your choice. Okay, so there are also other alternatives aside from Tailwind. Not everyone likes Tailwind CSS, okay, because it's a bit finicky at times and it makes your elements very long lah. The classes are a lot, especially if you want to customize a lot. Yeah. So some people will prefer other alternatives like SASS, Post CSS. Yeah. So also integrated with other CSS frameworks or other UI frameworks. So one big example is Daisy UI, and the next big example is SHADCN, SHADCN. So yeah, that's one that uses Tailwind a lot. So yeah, you can use vanilla CSS also, especially if you don't want to make your website slightly heavier, because Tailwind does affect your website performance just by a slight bit. Anyways, is there anything else left?
Yeah, that's it. If they're done, they can leave.
Once you are done with the feedback form and you don't have any questions, you are free to leave here. Okay.
Tell them it's compulsory to do the feedback form. If
It's
you don't do it, you don't get participation, sir.
it's compulsory to do the feedback form. If you don't do, he will smite you to death or something lah.
You won't get your cert. So
Yeah.
Okay, we're done now.
So please take care. Okay.
and bye. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Stop talking. Bye.
Yeah.
Presentation was a bit rushed, so my bad for
Actually.
that. Slightly
By
rushed.
far.